Hey everybody, my name's Milo, and this is my very first YouTube video about cameras. So, all I'm going to be talking about today, it's going to be a short video, the Pentax 6x7, the Kiev 6C, the Argus C3. I know, weird, very weird. When I was first starting to get into medium format, which was really not that long ago because I've only been shooting film for like 3 years, maybe. I came across a lot of, there's all the cameras that everybody loves, like the Pentax 6.7, 6.7 II, the 6x7, the RB6.7, the RZ6.7, I don't know, Mamiya 7. There's just all of the cameras everyone loves. And people love the 6C too. I'm one of them. So, just for people who are thinking about getting into medium format or are into it, but just trying to maybe go in a different direction and not have a camera that is $1,200 to buy, or the lenses are really expensive or whatever. Something that helped me was obviously trying things, but then reselling them if I didn't like them, if they didn't feel correct, or they didn't feel like they pushed me to want to go outside and shoot. And for some reason, buying this 6C from Ukraine, when I got it, I was just so excited. It came with a prism finder, the metered one, which is, really hit or miss. I don't really meter anyways. And so I ordered the waist level finder, and I love this little finder. It's very, the viewfinder itself is very bright. I think the viewfinder in this camera is brighter than the Pentax 6.7. But the waist level finder is great. It keeps out enough light. It's light. It's not super janky, but it's close. But it does the job, and that's all I want my cameras to do, is their job. So, yeah, I just highly recommend this camera, and because it has a P6 mount, it really is just exciting. You have access to so many good lenses. And so I have the Carl Zeiss Biomatar, the 80mm f 2.8, ba-boom. And this lens is brilliant. I got it for $80, very cheap, super sharp. The bokeh is beautiful. The rendering is beautiful. All the colors are nice. The contrast is great. It's just really beautiful. And a lens for the Kiev system that I was very surprised by when I got it, which it came with, is the Vega 90mm f2.8 also. And this lens is, it's just fine. It's a kind of bizarro because I feel like a lot of lenses have this like shiny, sleek, beautiful finish where the lighting is just so nice on it and everything just looks great and sort of brand new, even if it's 40 years old. And this lens is it's like a matte finish. It's almost like, even more so, like utilitarian, just like flat looking. Almost looks like somebody just spray painted it, which they didn't. But the images that this lens gets are, in my opinion, incredible. I think they're really, really great. And if I do another video, I will be sure to add images that I've taken with these cameras or with the lenses that I'm talking about or anything, because I want you to have an experience. It's really fun to see what these things do and what they're capable of. That's one of my favorite things about film photography. Another lens I have, this beast, which I actually am not that excited about. There's something about this beautiful domed glass giant lens or element that just is so appealing, and so finding it and being like, oh, it's so cheap, and wow, this just won't go back on. I'm just gonna forget about that. When I actually used it and saw the images that it gets pretty long. There it is. I'm not super into sharpness only. They just were like very flat and not sharp, and I felt like it just didn't do what I expected it to do or something. So it's worth trying. I'm going to keep trying it. I'm not getting rid of any of the lenses for this camera system. But I just love all three of these lenses, the 90 and the 80 more by far than the Mur 65 3.5. Yeah, this Kiev 6E and the 60s, I love the 6E more than the 60s, but I bought extra bodies just in case one craps out, which is something you can do with a Pentax or you can do with a RB or RZ, but who's going to spend another $800 on whatever, to have just an extra body to throw in a bag? I went on a trip recently with my girlfriend, and I had the 60 and a 60 in the bag. I never had to use the 60, but it was there just in case this one had any issues. And if I brought this, bringing an extra body, I would never have an extra body. So it's worth thinking about. I highly recommend the 6E. Now the Pentax, great, great, great camera. This one has issues. I bought it from a reputable online store, and they said I bought it at a bargain price, supposedly no issues, but the frame counter doesn't actually really move correctly, and also shooting a roll, I got 3.5 frames from out of 10 frames that I was supposed to get. I don't know what's going on with it, and I've shot 3 rolls now as a test. I just shot another one today, so I'm going to develop that after this filming and see how it turns out and hope that I get more images from it. I hope it corrects itself as cameras can do, I guess. And yeah, I used a Pentax 6x7 when I was first starting in medium format like a year and a half ago, and it was great. I had the 75mm, and I did some portraits of my girlfriend playing banjo. I went outside and walked along the river and took some pictures, and the images that it makes are really nice, and the 75, I would say, is perfect for me. I know other people love the 105, and someday I might try that. It would be fun. But I just like, I don't know, what I can get and not just, I don't know, waiting, or I don't mind saving for the thing I actually want. But if I just want to test something out, and I've had the great fortune of being able to do that 2 times now, and I'm most likely going to sell this 6x7 if I can figure out what's wrong with it, or if I can return it to the seller, then I won't resell it. But yeah, I think that there's this thing that happens, which I totally understand, and I've fallen into the same little traps or whatever. Not really a trap, but I think it's just a matter of, if you're getting into photography, or if you have been shooting photography and you want to make some medium format images, whoever you are, however long you've been doing it, watch the videos that you do on YouTube or read the articles that you read, but also just try things. If you have the ability to try things, you could save up for a Pentax 6.7, 6.7 II, 6x7, whatever, for a year and a half or 3 paychecks, and then get it in the mail and not like it at all, and be like, I want to return this, or it's way too heavy, which this puppy, I took the weights of this Argus C3, the Kiev, and this Pentax, and the Pentax body alone weighs 2.8 pounds without anything, without film, without the prism, without lenses. The Argus C3 weighs 2.79 pounds, which is so heavy for this tiny little brick camera. That's the only reason why this is in this video, is just for comparison. And then the Kiev weighs 2.502 pounds without anything on it. So the Kiev's actually pretty dang light. The results are great. You have to be careful with it, as you should with all cameras. I think you should use the heck out of them, but also treat them slightly like they're a thing that you want to keep using. And I think that's why the Kievs usually have a lot of issues, because people are cranking them and just throwing them around and stuff. Because it's like, well, it's a piece of crap or something. But I mean, would you do that with a Leica M2, M6? No. So if you just treat it well, it'll treat you well. But I highly recommend just going online, communicating with sellers, hoping they communicate back. If they don't waste your money there. Ask questions before you purchase stuff, and just try things if you can. Like if you have a local camera store, go down to your camera store and ask if you know the people. Obviously, it's easier than just not knowing them and going in and hoping they're going to let you borrow a camera. But rent cameras, borrow them, buy cheap cameras. Folding cameras, the 120 folders are amazing. Kenneth Watcha just did a video on folding camera that it's great. There's so many options. There's cheap TLRs that are great. But if you're looking into the SLRs like the RB or the Pentax or the Kiev or the Salutes or the Hasselblad or any of that stuff, it's worth just looking around, reading about it, talking to people maybe that you know or that you don't know and you want to reach out to them. Ask them about their experience, and hopefully you'll actually be able to find something that feels good and that doesn't break the bank when you buy it. But for now, that's it, and I appreciate you being here, and I'll stay in touch, make another video. Have a good day, everybody.